So one thing I wanted to ask was, you mentioned I think that the basic mechanism for Darwinism or for evolution, which is Darwinism, which is natural selection through random mutation or by random mutation. Is that, I know you gave an overview of evolution, so like I guess it's bound to be mentioned, but would it be a good idea to just use an even more basic understanding of evolution, which is removing the mechanism itself for the overview? Because there are, I mean, you did have a portion that you missed out on in this particular podcast, which is the problems with evolution. Is that a problem with Darwinism necessarily, or just evolution as a whole?
I'm not aware of any school in evolutionary biology which excludes natural selection and random genetic mutation from the equation as the driving mechanism.
Yeah.
If Darwin proposed it just from the top of his head, no one has improved upon it, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And Allah knows best.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the problem of, these are kind of two nebulous terms, aren't they?
Yeah.
Natural selection. Ooh, that in itself is very mystical, kind of nebulously out there.
Yeah.
So that is obviously a great criticism. Something just out there somehow is guiding, but then they're saying that it's not guiding, it's just random, and it just turns out like that. And then you come into, look, it turns out like that, finely tuned, and everything. All these things begin to gel together.
Yeah.
When you I think when you look at one aspect of something and you don't take a step back and see the bigger picture,
mm-hmm.
you might fail to realize the wonderment of the astonishment of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are able to step back, then as we know, it is amazing, and it's really just hard to believe that it's all chance,
yeah,
random mutations, nebulous natural selection,
yeah,
and there you have it. And obviously the question is, it goes back to even something more basic than that. Forget about how did life on planet Earth get here, but the even more basic question is just how did life in the universe get here?
Yeah.
How did the universe itself get here is really the Quranic starting point.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't couch it in that language.
You mentioned in one of your your earlier works that the laws of entropy, it just completely goes against natural selection.
Yeah, indeed, because entropy finds its way in throughout all science, where you go through something quite systemized, a system that is quite, constructed, and it kind of dissipates and it gets more reckless and more undefined. With evolution, strangely enough, the very reverse happens. You come with all these kind of, random, chaotic Earth, and over time you end up with human beings, with intelligent creatures like monkeys and dolphins and then human beings. So it's gone against the normative scientific principle that entropy increases, meaning chaos and disorder increases with time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you come to the specifics of evolution, the very opposite is happening.
Yeah.
So how do they explain that as well? Then the fossil records is, an issue, and merely because a fish to a reptile to a horse, even if we would say that's 100% proven, even if we were to say, it doesn't mean that it proves other things. Likewise, merely because I have like 77 or 95% similarity in genes between me and the great apes, or me and a chimpanzee, that doesn't mean that I am descended from it, no more than we have 50% similarity with banana genes. Apparently, we have 50% similarity, same genes as a banana. And no one on this planet is going to say we descended half from bananas. So again, it's not the science, it's the inference. Yeah. It's the conclusions that one may draw from there that may not be right. Jurassic Park is a good example. So these films, Jurassic Park, the way that dinosaurs behave and the skin of the dinosaurs, they're not based upon science. They just, well, Hollywood does it for its purpose, but they are just artistic assumptions.
Yeah.
But there was a T-Rex kind of, that we have good skeletons of T-Rex, fossils of T-Rex, but did they have that attitude? Did they blink like that? Did they roar like that? Were their skins smooth? No, that's all speculative. So some things in evolution, we might have fossils and Homo habilis, Homo this, but a lot of it's filling in the gap with, this is what I think squares the circle. And so those type of things aren't hard facts. They could be open to change.